Well, thank you. Okay, cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
You cannot start your video because the host has stopped.
The host or the hostess must give us access. Hey, there you go. Nope, not yet. We got one. We have two. Ready to rock and roll? See that smile, man. It's like. Okay. Ready, legal department? Ready or not? Here we go. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the City of Hialeah Planning and Zoning Board meeting for Wednesday, May 11, 2022. Everyone, please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Lord, we ask that you watch over us as we make these decisions tonight. We also ask that you please guide us, give us the right frame of mind to make the right decisions for the city and those involved in the applications. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May be seated. Do we have anybody on Zoom that is going to talk tonight? Do you know?
I don't see Caesar. Yeah, there he is.
Oh, there he is. I see that. All righty.
Meeting guidelines. The following guidelines apply to today's Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Any person, whether participating via the web platform, telephonic conferencing, or physical presence at City Hall, interested in making comments or posing questions on any item on the agenda may do so during the meeting. Members of the public may hear the meeting live through telephone and conferencing using any telephone or cellular phone service. A smart device or computer are not necessary to participate in the meeting if you join by phone. All persons participating via the web platform will be muted during the meeting until called upon to be heard. Participation through Zoom requires a computer or smart mobile device with a microphone and web camera. The participant may elect to participate in the meeting using audio only or appear through both audio and video. The video function of all participants appearing through video will be turned off until called upon to be heard. All lobbyists must register with the Planning and Zoning Board prior to item being heard. A maximum of 4 speakers in favor and 4 speakers in opposition will be allowed to address the Planning and Zoning Board on any item. Each speaker's comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Roll call. Mr. D. Perez?
Here?
Mr. Ramon?
Here.
Mr. Iglesias?
Here.
Mr. Jimenez?
Here.
Mr. Ulloa? Absent. Mr. Casanova is absent. Mrs. Enriquez? Here. We have a quorum. Administration of oath to all applicants and anyone who will be speaking before the board on any item.
Anyone that's going to speak in front of the board, please stand, raise your right hand. Let's see if we can see Caesar in there. Okay, well, we'll get him. Thank you. Let the record show that it was, oh, there's Caesar. There, you want to do Caesar? Do you swear to tell the truth, Caesar, before this board? There you go. Thank you. I'll give you the short and sweet version. All right, let the record show the everyone present said answered in the affirmative.
Summary minutes or a copy of the audio file of the proceedings before the Planning and Zoning Board shall be prepared and submitted to the City Council before its hearing. The Planning and Zoning Board recommendations for the following public hearing requests will be heard by the City Council at its scheduled meeting of Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. LU 1, small-scale amendment from low-density residential to transit-oriented development district. Property located at 922 East 26th Street, Hialeah, zoned to R1, one-family district. Applicant, George L. Navarro, Esquire.
Mr. Navarro, would you like to identify yourself, please?
Good evening, board members. Carlos Diaz with offices at 333 Southeast 2nd Avenue. Here covering for Mr.
Hey,
Navarro.
Carlos. Good evening.
I will read my recommendation on this item, and then there is a companion item because this is the land use and they are also rezoning. So whatever presentation he gives and my explanation will be related to both. The property in this application is a residential lot located on the south side of East 26th Street between East 10th Avenue and East 9th Avenue within the Hialeah Transfer TOD district. The whole block, except the southwest corner parcel of the block, is the site of Metro Park, a mixed-use 10-story residential development already approved by the city. The subject property has low-density residential land use within a block that has TOD land use, except for the southwest corner that has commercial land use. The applicant is requesting a land use change from low-density residential to TOD. The purpose of adding this parcel is to incorporate it into the Metro Park development. No commercial space or residential units will be built in this parcel. The proposal is to integrate it to the open space amenity area on the ground floor. The requested land use change will consolidate the TOD land use in the block, and since this is a missing part of a larger piece where it was verified that the level of service standards can be met, the application shall be approved. In addition, the land use change is consistent with all goals for and its objectives and policies of the City of Hialeah Comprehensive Plan related to transit-oriented district. The recommendation is approval.
Thank you, Mrs. George. Carlos?
I think Deborah covered it all. It's very briefly, if you're all familiar with the Metro Park Hialeah project, we've been here many times before you because we've been adding parcels little by little. This is the last lot on the board. The only lot that we haven't been able to obtain, obviously, is a dealership in the corner.
Right.
We're proceeding without that. We've demolished the existing buildings. We're moving forward with permitting for the project. We just want to add this lot in. We're not adding units. We're not adding any more square footage. We're using that space for amenities and for the open space of the project. We just want to make sure that it has the same zoning and that it is incorporated properly into our project.
Are you the same entity that's doing just east of 10th Avenue?
No, that was the same owner that got both properties rezoned, but they sold that to
Because
another
they're-
developer, and our client is also another entity.
They're hard at work demolishing there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're demolishing here as well, and we're working with. We actually had to come back for the alley closure, so
Okay.
it'll probably be next.
Comments or questions? Anyone in the audience? Comment or question? Anyone in the electronic audience? Close this part of the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion, Mr. Iglesias, second, Mr. Gamon. Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Gamon?
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, so this was a land use meeting. We're going to close this meeting since there's no more items on this particular meeting. So as of this moment, that meeting is adjourned. And however, we will now open up the regular planning and zoning meeting. So those individuals that sworn in, you're grandfathered, so, and you can do your thing.
Item number 1, approval of Planning and Zoning Board summary agenda of April 27th, 2022 as submitted.
Need a motion and a second, please.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion, Mr. Iglesias, second, Mr. Gamon. Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Jimenez?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mr. Gamon?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you all very much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Wait.
Carlos, not yet.
Next item.
You do the robot back.
Your rezoning.
Oh, yes.
A written decision and resolution will be prepared and presented for review to the City Council. The City Council is authorized to affirm with conditions, or override the decisions by resolution. After the resolution is adopted, contact a member of the City Clerk's office to obtain a copy of the final decision and resolution. Upon your receipt of the final decision and resolution, contact the Building Department to obtain your required building permit. Summary minutes or a copy of the audio file of the proceedings before the Planning and Zoning Board shall be prepared and submitted to the City Council before its hearing. The Planning and Zoning Board recommendations for the following public hearing requests will be heard by the City Council at a scheduled meeting of Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. Item number 2, rezoning property from R1 One Family District to TOD Transit Oriented Development District. Property located at 922 East 26th Street, Hialeah zoned R1 One Family District. Applicant George L. Navarro, Esquire.
Thank you. We did approve to hear you on this item, so we didn't approve the item yet. Go ahead and identify yourself, please.
Right. Carlos Diaz with offices at 333 Southeast Second Avenue, here on behalf of the applicant.
Thank you.
The property in this application is a residential lot located on the south side of East 26th Street between East 10th Avenue and East 9th Avenue within the Hialeah Transfer TOD district. The whole block, except the southwest corner parcel of the block, is the site of Metro Park, a mixed-use 10-story residential development already approved by the city. The subject property has R1, one family district zoning, within a block that has TOD zoning, except for the southwest corner that has C2 zoning. The applicant is requesting rezoning from R1 to TOD concurrently with a land use change from low-density residential to TOD. The purpose of adding this parcel is to incorporate it into the Metro Park development. No commercial space or residential units will be built on this parcel. The proposal is to integrate it into the open space amenity area on the ground floor. The requested zoning change will make land use and zoning consistent and will consolidate the TOD zoning in the block. Recommendation approval.
Thank you, Mrs. George. Carlos?
I second everything that Deborah said, and I ask for your approval.
So the comments or questions on the board? Anyone in the audience? Anyone in the electronic audience? All right, what's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve? Second.
Motion, Mr. Iglesias. Second,
Gamon.
Mr. Gamon. Mr. Jimenez?
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Gamon?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Good night. Item number 3, rezoning properties from R1, one family district, and RO residential office to B1 highly restricted retail district. And variance permit to allow front setback of 10 feet or 20 feet are required. Properties are located at 4915 East Palm Court, 4935 East Palm Court, 4910 East First Avenue, and 4930 East First Avenue. Hialeah zoned R1, one family district, and RO residential office. Applicant, JMC Medical Services.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in front of this board?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Name and address, please.
Humberto Ramos from Ramos Martinez Architects at 655 West Flagler Street, Miami, Florida, 33130.
Thank you. You read it into the record, and we'll go from there.
This application includes 4 properties that are proposed to be consolidated into one to be redeveloped. The properties involved include 2 sites expanding into the entire short side of a block fronting East 49th Street between East Palm Court and East First Avenue, and 2 adjacent properties immediately north of them. The 4 properties were granted a land use change earlier this year from residential office to commercial through City of Hialeah, Florida, Ordinance 2022-11. At this time, the applicant is requesting rezoning from residential office and R1 to B1 in order to make land use and zoning consistent. When the applicant filed the land use change, the development proposal included an addition to the existing building and the expansion of the parking lot. This time around, the applicant submitted an improved proposal that includes the replacement of the existing building, thank you, with a new 2-story state-of-the-art building with contemporary design and in compliance with all zoning requirements. The applicant is also requesting a variance to allow 10 feet front setback where 20 feet are required. However, the proposed development has the necessary incentive points under Section 98-275 Urban Design Incentives to get the 50% setback adjustment without the need of a variance. The redevelopment proposal is in line with the zoning analysis of the East 49th corridor conducted in 2021, recommending the phasing out of the residential office classification and redevelopment on consolidated properties under the less intensive commercial zoning classification, which is B1, with buildings lining 49th Street and parking lots in the rear. In light of these considerations, the rezoning from R1 and RO shall be granted. Recommendation, approval.
Thank you. Comments or questions?
Only to say that I agree with the staff and the recommendation, and we feel that this is a great use for this area.
Thank you. Comments or questions from the board? Anyone in the audience have a comment or question on this item? Anyone in the electronic audience? Okay, close the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion, Mr. Iglesias, second, Mrs. Enriquez. Mr. Jimenez?
Yes.
Mr. D. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Gamon?
Yes.
Mrs. Enriquez?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you. Deborah, one
Thank you.
really quick question. Is it the intention to eventually do away with all the ROs on, and have
Yes.
good-looking buildings like
Yeah,
that?
But we want to count them one by one.
Of
to
course.
make sure that what we're going to obtain.
Yeah, because that's a
yeah.
lot better looking
Yeah.
than the converted single-family homes.
There is a relatively new building there, but the design was never good. So
Good deal.
adding to that building was not a good idea. I'm glad that they came up with this.
Good deal.
Really
That'll be
nice.
Thank you.
Item number 4, rezoning property from R3 Multiple Family District to R35 Multiple Family District. Variance permit to allow front setback of 11.4 feet where 25 feet are required. Allow east and west interior side setbacks of 7 feet where 10 feet are required. Allow rear setback of 10.6 feet where 20 feet are required. Allow lot coverage of 34.5% where 30% is the maximum allowed. And allow 22.3% pervious area where 30% pervious area is the minimum required. Properties located at 61, 63, 75, and 77 West 31st Street, Hialeah zoned R3, multiple family district. Applicant Cesar Mestre, Esquire.
Hello, Caesar.
Good afternoon. Cesar Mestre, law office is at 8105 Northwest 155th Street, Miami Lakes, Florida.
Thank you, sir.
This application includes 2 parcels located on the north side of West 31st Street between Palm Avenue and West 1st Street. Both properties are now developed with 1 duplex each. Both were built in the 1950s and include 0.424 acres. The property is zoned R3 and its land use has been changed in 2021 from medium density residential to high density residential through City of Hialeah, Florida Ordinance 2021-136. The change was granted because all the properties on the south side of West 31st Street currently are at or exceed the high-density residential land use maximum density of 32 units per acre, making the high-density residential land use consistent with the uses already existent in the area. At this time, the applicant is requesting rezoning from R3 to R35 in order to make land use and zoning consistent. The property is proposed to be redeveloped with a new 2-story multifamily development, including 12 units and 24 parking spaces. In addition, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow 11.4 feet front setback where 25 feet are required, east and west side setback of 7 feet where 10 feet are required, rear setback of 10.6 feet where 20 feet are required, 34.5% lot coverage where 30% is the maximum allowed, and 22.3% pervious area where 30% is the minimum required. The reduced front setback may be approved since it will prevent back-out parking. The reduced interior side setbacks could also be approved since the 7-feet setback is proposed for the main walls of the buildings, while the balconies have a setback of 8 feet. The reduced rear setback request could also be approved since it is only for 42% of the width of the lot. It is the setback for the 2 31-feet wide buildings, and no balconies will face the rear yard. The lot coverage request may also be approved since it is minimal, and the pervious area could also be approved since a drainage system will be provided. A new multifamily development at this location will bring renewal to a stagnant location and add units to the city's housing inventory at a time when there is a need for more housing, significantly outweighing the impact of the variances. Recommendation approval.
Thank you, Mrs. Storch. Mr. Mestre?
Yes, good evening. Again, Cesar Mestre. With me today online is Oscar Gonzalez, which is the person that shows up as Oscar. If they could please unmute him. And also the owner, Juan Puyas, which shows up as Juan Puyas on the screen. while they're doing that, let me show you the presentation, small presentation that we have. As she said, this is two different lots. It's addresses right now are 61, 63, 75, and 77 West 31st Street. Next slide. This is one of the lots. It's the third lot in from West First Avenue. And the next slide. And this is the other lot, which is the second lot in from West First Avenue. As you heard, the planner has an issue with the balconies, which would be facing west here on this side, and on the other side would be facing east. So yeah, it would be right along this line here, and on the other side, that line there. And I will have the architect address that issue.
Well,
Next.
I have no issues. I think
Okay.
you read an old recommendation where the plans that were sent to us were different and the setback was smaller. But then I spoke with the architect and he sent new plans, and I read in the recommendation that it's fine. I don't have
Oh,
any.
so we don't have to mirror the plans anymore?
No. That was,
Oh,
so you,
I read the
you did-
recommendation I received today. I'm sorry.
but you didn't hear what I just read.
Okay. I was going along. I just didn't. I was
Yeah,
preparing my
That was my
presentation.
fault. I forgot to
Okay.
say.
Okay. don't
Sorry,
worry.
Caesar.
So I'll go ahead and hang up and I'll call back and I'll pretend like I just didn't say anything, okay?
Okay.
Anyway, next slide. As the planner said, the land use has already been changed to high density. These are photographs of existing buildings on that same block, just so you have an idea. Next slide. Same thing. These are some of the buildings that exist on the block. This is on the corner on the same side of the street that we're on, and these are buildings again on the same block. These are the two properties that we are going to demolish. Hopefully, we get your recommendation of approval, and building this new 2-story, modern-looking 12-unit, 2 bedrooms each apartments, modern design to helpfully redevelop this area. This will add units, which is one of the things that we have heard is one of the needed things here in Dade County. So I ask you for a recommendation of approval so that we can make the land use and the zoning consistent and we can get this project done.
The 2 trees that you show there are part of the record. So for the owners, start purchasing those trees to make sure that then there are no excuses of hurricane or whatever. We want the trees as tall as they are shown in the rendering.
Well, now that he doesn't have to change the balconies, I think that's fair and that's fine. Yeah, that'll be part of it. I believe that the landscaping, actually there was a landscaping as part of the plans and that is what's shown there. So that we will comply with that request, of course.
Resistance is futile.
No, they show this and then they put 2 palmitas.
2 palmitas. Hey, palmita for Palm Avenue, you know?
Okay, Deborah, I'm going to tell you the truth. There's a little pot in my client's house with some seeds and they're trying to grow them now.
Any comments or questions from the board? Anyone in the audience or electronic audience have a comment or question? Closes the public hearing. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion, Mr. Iglesias. Second, Mrs. Henriquez. Mr. G. Perez?
Yes.
Mr. Gamon?
Yes.
Mr. Iglesias?
Yes.
Mrs. Henriquez? Yes. Mr. Jimenez?
Yes.
Item has been approved.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
All right.
Good night.
Bye, good night.
Miscellaneous items not requiring advertising. Item number 5, old business. Okay, no old business. Item number 6, new business.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous. Mr. Iglesias looks so professional here, sitting in front of the flags. I mean,
Don't change it. I love it.
I mean, look at you. You're so
If
patriotic.
you want, get yourself
you know?
another flag, but that one is mine.
Any new business? Any old business? Anyone? Anything else?
Nope.
No? All righty. So, meeting's adjourned.
Wow.